do you feel about this? And can he come back? Of course, today we've seen our first ever Nana pick in the World Championship.
Yeah, we've talked about this before.
Let that sink in.
Yeah, I don't want to be real toxic here, but I don't think it works out too well. I do think there are certain places and times for it, but that's like very niche situations. Kimmy, on the other hand, pretty much 100% pick ban at this point. Like, no one really wants to deal with it, and nobody kind of wants to give it over as well. Great mid game, great early game. So far, we haven't seen games like drag on really, really late in this group. Usually it ends around, you know, the 8th, 9th minute, where it's pretty determined or straightforward who is going to take the game.
And we're also seeing Kufra as well being that sort of a really sought after pick. But throughout the entirety of day 1 as well as day 2, we're not really seeing Kufra really come into action. Well, there was a couple of those games with Kufra coming into play, but then again, you know, when you allow that to happen, that's pretty much some great advantages given towards the team that will be able to actually get that sort of a solid pick. Now, of course, can they come back? The only way that they could still find the light of day is to get themselves that 2-0 victory, and to them, they are still hanging by this really team threat. And of course, they're gonna starting off with the Halas pick.
Yep, strong pick overall. I think nobody can kind of doubt that at this point. It's kind of going to give Axis a little bit of an edge here. They're going to go for their double pick here. Most likely going to be the Grok. What they're going to pair it up with is a better question.
Now, speaking of a pairing right here, of course, we got really great mages like Esmeralda, who still gets picked from time to time, but early phase Esmeralda is not really the best of options, but Lunox seems to be that go-to option for Rin of Axis Esports.
Yeah, and so far, I mean, Rin has been performing decently well on it. Maybe not so much early this morning, but, you know, hey, once they got the warm-up going, it's like, all right, let's really take this seriously. You could see that he is a lot better player once he has that warm-up in check. However, Harith is being given over to Candy Comeback. Whether or not they, you know, took that into consideration, not too sure, because still, Esmeralda is on the table as well. A lot of S-tier mages, Gushin as well. I mean, so why do they want to specifically go for the Lunox in this particular situation? Are they looking to maybe pick up a mid-sitar?
Well, perhaps so, because they were looking at the Howard being picked up here, and that's definitely one great option on the table where Axis Esports have been playing a couple of mid-sitar games before, so they could definitely opt to do the same. And Bruno, of course, being brought into the picture throughout today is definitely one that very reliable marksman on the table. So maybe this might just force Axis to actually go in for a marksman pick as well. Well, we're looking at things like Claw, things like the Granger, and time again, carries been brought out. So Axis will reply with that Granger.
I do enjoy the Granger pick here. Great engage, great ways to kind of just dash out of awkward positions. The Rondo is so useful, and the Death Sonata is so effective. But we're going to move on to just getting rid of like either support tanks or fighters at this point, because both sides are still lacking one support or tank, and more importantly, who is going to be their side laner. And Masha is still kind of on the table.
Masha definitely would be a great fit for either side, but we're looking at scalability right now, because Candy Comeback seems to me that they do need a lot of time to actually get themselves ready for that sort of a mid to late game phase. And of course, early picks off would possibly give them some great edge. And I'm not really seeing all too much of that for the lineup for now, but they're opting to go for that Valor ban, which means only one more left for Axis to choose from. So perhaps they might even axe a couple of all these major sort of tanks coming to play as well.
Yeah, and coming in for Candy Comeback, they ban out the Valir, deciding, you know, we don't want to deal with the Valir support that kind of roams around. It's just super annoying and keeps Harith at bay. It's like every time you chrono dash in, he just pushes you back, and every single time he does that, and if he gets the empowered and stuns you, that could end up getting yourself killed.
And that's definitely one great point to factor in as well. And Lolita hasn't played throughout the rest of the day, and now we're going in for that Franco pickup once again, that cheese pick that we saw earlier on. After that set against Burmese Gold, they managed to take down Team Gosu with the Franco coming in. So they're trying to pull off the same sort of style against the Laos team. And now we're looking at Baxia being brought in, and Rrq Keon the other day has shown how to play a solid Baxia, and hopefully the side of CC, they will be able to actually get this Baxia running across the map and cause so much of that nuisance.
Yeah, interesting why they decided to pick Baxia now rather than later, or at least, you know, to kind of deny the counter pick. But, I mean, they already saw the Franco, so I don't know. It's kind of interesting. The Cho, on the other hand, that's a pretty interesting pick in itself because they waited until the very end to finally pick him up. Like, he's not going to be in that support position. He's definitely going to be in the fighter top side. And right now, Axis Esports has to kind of decide, like, oh no, we can't really deal with the Cho, especially if he's a fighter. With the number of fighters you have, it's really limited.
Yeah, and I'm really looking at Axis here, having a really deep discussion with their coach right there, and they're really playing things out. How are they supposed to complete this lineup? Well, I do believe that they could definitely fit one more fighter in, and it will definitely be that Masha for that very final pickup. So for the side of CC, they had their chances to actually secure that Masha, but they opt not to do so. That's pretty interesting to me. But what I do like for the fact that with that Chow coming into the picture as well as Baxia, which means that Franco needs to be a little bit more careful on who he's got to hook right in towards the team. So now all these stuff are locked right in, and we're ready to get ourselves into Game 1.
Yeah, and looking at Axis Esports in comparison to Candy Comback's composition, I think what Cho brings to the table is really frustrating because then he puts a lot of kill potential onto Masha, and I think that's what Axis Esports kind of hesitated to lock in the Masha. We can see that their earlier 4 picks are really strong together, has some great siege potential. Franco, the moment they start sieging a turret, if anyone walks up, you're in range of actually dying, or at least getting hit by a Death Sonata, which may result in you getting iron hooked, which may result with you just instantly getting shot down. So it's like it's one after the other.
And layers and layers.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of that happen before. There was so many of those sort of hook and flicker to actually get itself that extended range. And imagine if there were to be, you know, if they were to follow like Caperni's goal after that sort of hook coming from Franco. Imagine there's also a giant to pull it all the way back with the ejector. That will be some really great distance being traveled unwillingly by whoever gets hooked up.
Can we get a counter? Can we get a counter if ever, like the longest hook we can get, the longest chain CC timer? just let it roll.
Oh,
let it roll.
Well, that will definitely be fun to watch. But what's even more fun is that we're going in towards our very final series right here of this best of 3 between Candy Comback versus Axis Esports. Now, of course, we've seen so many of all these players pit each other against.
So dirty.
Well, we've already seen that sort of perfect wave clear coming from the side of CC, already getting in towards the very first camp for Norris and Bister.
I mean, check this out. Masha decides to hide in the brush and wait for the moment to give over the buff. He barely loses his entire health bar, and now he walks up, he loses 2 minions. That's A-okay, but the buff is secured so quickly, it kind of denies a lot of EXP to their top side. And look at Bruno, he's only hit level 2, he should be nearing 3 at this point.
Well, that's definitely food for thought. Well, they definitely could have made a better option heading into this, but then again, look at Evil X, he's still level 1, which is, well, of course, pretty far. But look at Scott, though, all alone over on the bomb side, will be joined by the Granger as well. So great rotations starting off from the side of Axis Esports, and that's definitely that redemption code for you guys back at home to claim some freebies. So what's in the box? It's for you to find out.
Yeah, get it while you still can, because these go. I mean, there's so many codes to be given away over the next couple of days, so stick around and watch some more if you want to be able to get some free prizes. But more importantly, I think you should check out the Granger, who's just having the time of his life with Franco just being his bodyguard in the river. Like, oh, if you're gonna rotate, like, we will know.
Oh wow, definitely that's something to look out for. Now, double rejuvenation for the side of Candy Comback for their frontliners, Toms as well as North. So I'm really hoping to see them really outlast these enemies in those team fights. Well, I'm not too sure how are they supposed to approach this, as North dives in towards the jungle, but they don't really want to overextend at this point because there's not too much of that objective other than the turtle, and we're going to see a little bit of that team fight coming out, and that will be a hook over to Toms.
Toms has already popped the rejuvenation. He hits level 4, but he might be going down here. He instantly dies. The rejuvenation wasn't in time. The rest of the team in the back line is already trying to take them out. North tries to pick up Evil X. Evil X does go down over to Bistler. Now Bistler needs to make something happen here. He's trying to buy a little bit of time. Chrono Dash just over the wall, but the rest of the team is not going to let him go without a fight. Lasted taking so much damage, but it ain't going to be enough as Scott locks the last member down. Bister finally dies to that bloody hunt.
Wow, there's so many of these kills happening in the blink of an eye. Although Candy Comeback managed to secure that turtle, look at that overcommitment coming from CC. They dive over on an Evil X, but that flicker gave him a little bit of safety net for a while, and the rest of Axis Esports, they just march right in and punishes them for that overstep. Now, of course, that's definitely not worth it because they walk away with 4 kills in total after that skirmish happening on that turtle.
I mean, even though they did, you know, kind of throw their bodies at him, it allowed Conan a little bit of space to actually break that bottom side. Well, Tom's having to pop that glorious pathway to keep himself alive and a way to escape. But the rest of the team kind of has to respond because now Cho is going to be split pushing for the most part, knowing that his team is behind. He needs to pull pressure towards himself.
Well, I'm not too sure whether that righteous pathway would be pretty much be put into great effect, but he could have just walked out of that alive if we just fall back into that brush. Well, speaking of a brush here, Rin as well as Evil X are applying something up, and Norris will be diving head first. And where the rest of Candy come at? They don't really want to actually fully commit to that, so they're going to be playing a little bit more passively as the next turtle will be spawning out on the lower side of the river.
Yeah, they've done a really good, well, not really an interesting, but very smart lane swap here, sending Conan to the top side because, again, there's nothing much for him to do. If he tries to push up to tier 2, it might cost him his life, so allows his bot lane he allows his marksman to kind of farm up down to that bot side with the safety of the turret while he goes top and it's like, you know what, I might be able to get another top tier 1 if a fight breaks out.
Yeah, and I do like the fact that they're giving a little bit more attention towards the mid as well as top because there's no point fighting Masha to be able to Masha here. Toms is getting chunked out as well, but here comes North joining the picture, and Evil X a little bit off of position, but that flicker is going to be popped out. Well, this is going to be Rin already on that watch, trying to actually secure this turtle, and they will try to snatch this one away. Evil X on the forefront. Will they be able to connect? And it will be. Can he come back with the second turtle in hand?
Yep, and they're trying to make something happen, but Bister, even though he got hit by all the abilities, still survives. Evil X makes it out of there with that wall charge. Rin taking quite a bit of damage here, forces the flicker, and Bloody Hunt isn't there, and Tom's popping the rejuvenation really, really quickly, making sure he survives. Even though he's taking a lot of damage, Rin goes down, and now Lum finally able to join the combat here. They don't have enough minions. Lassen is already in there. Masha comes in, and she gets the initial kill while the rest of the team pulls on backwards. Bister is still alive. The Salmon Force popped, but he chrono dashes away. Conan trying to make something work, but again, Lassen survives, able to kite it out.
I just felt like that dive was so unnecessary, and every one of these members of Candy Comeback kind of committed to that. Now, from that 4-kill gap, it's headed in towards 8-2. A little bit of that sort of rewind for you guys to miss out some of these action, brought to you by U-Mobile. Now, they, of course, overcommitted. No minutes at all, which means that Lastic could dive right back in to punish Toms for that overextension. And, of course, that will be it for now. But CC slowly falling back, and their levels are not really all too great either. Well, of course, pretty decent if you really want to compare it to all these members of Axis Esports. But, wow, of that sort of a team fight, we're seeing about 3K gold in the span of that few minutes of time.
Yep, and again, the Iron Hook lands. Toms is in trouble. He's taking so much damage, but oh, I thought he was going to make it out of there, but Glorious Pathway isn't going to be enough to keep him after using the Rejuvenate so many times. It's still on cooldown. They're still pushing forward. Can they get another Iron Hook? Wild Charge has already been won by Evil X. The rest of the team is peeling backwards, and Granger isn't going to let anybody go without a fight. He's going to keep on shooting for the Iron Hook. Does miss from Scott. Rin needs one more hit. Rejuvenation has already been popped. Bister takes a little bit of damage, but not enough to finish him off. Oh my, hello there, Conan. Gets locked down by the Bloody Hunt, kicks him away with the Way of the Dragon, gets hit with a full wrap. Ooh.
Well, I believe that was pretty much a huge miscommunication over on the side of Conan, because every one of these members are already low, and he chose to actually cut through the side to go in for the flank, but fight's already over before it's been begun, and Access Esports now could also opt to actually push all these sort of the waves back towards the side of Candy Comeback and set up for the Lord, which will come out about 100 seconds from now. And look at the items. Of course, you have the Calamity Scythe already being purchased from the side of Harif, Blade of Despair for the Granger as well. So all these big items are coming out, and oh, that's a great hook over on Norse, and this is definitely one great pickup, all thanks to Scott.
Yeah, and that's kind of the issue to deal with for Candy Comeback, because they're getting picked off way too often, but Scott's not letting them have a good time either. Tom's pops the glorious pathway, trying to make something happen here, but I don't think it's going to work. I think EvilX, I mean, Scott should have his Iron Hook up relatively soon, but he doesn't want to get on a target like Tom's. He wants to pick up Conan. He wants to pick up Ton MVP. Like, he wants to get the bigger hitters from Candy Comeback side.
Well, I definitely would say that Candy Comeback could still actually look for that late game skirmish, but Tom's keep getting pressurized and caught out. They should not even get anywhere close to that junction, and Norris here, of course, arriving here, having nothing to do at all, just to farm a little bit more as he can. But Candy Comeback doesn't seem to be able to actually respond well, because even if you really want to focus on members of Access Esports, you got so many frontliners like EvilX, like Scott, or even members like Lasset, who is technically unkillable by now.
Yeah, I mean, again, another Bloody Hunt has popped onto Boxia. Like, there's nothing they can do right now, because both Lung and Rin are gigantic in this game, and not to mention that Lasset, he already has the Windtalker and Demon Hunter Sword. He's basically unstoppable if he's left to his own accord, and that's why two people on the top side just have to make sure they clear the wave so that Masha doesn't get the push. And this is putting Candy Comeback, between a rock and a hard place. It's either you go to the bot side and try not to get hooked by this Scott's Franco. Iron Hook lands again!
Oh no! Mega kill going in the hands of Lung, and they're looking for the double for him as well. Access Esports now have a free pass to get that Lord underway, and Access, they say they might not even need this one in hand. And now Norris diving all the way back. That hook almost connects, and every one of these members are really worried of getting pulled back by the side of Scott, as he's already getting 10 assists just by landing those hooks.
Exactly, and Lung, just with one crescendo, is chunking people to half their HP, and I think that's already a big statement in itself, that their carries are just so well farmed. They're just going to sit into the brush, play brush, guerrilla warfare, and brush tactics. If anybody walks up, just hook them, kill them, make sure that they don't have any breathing room outside of their base.
That's right, and I'm looking at the gold charts as well. Like, this is one of those games with 10k deficit, and I feel like Candy Comeback, I'm not sure if we're going to have that sort of a name at the back though. Like, you can be Candy, but Comeback at this point in time, pretty much hard to do.
Yeah, and Lauren is already knocking onto Death's door here. Inhibitors going down like it's nothing. I mean, with Lasset, he just chunks it out so quickly with just a couple of abilities. And Candy Comeback just kind of can't really do too much here as well. Getting locked down too far. The rest of the team doesn't want to help him out. Toms, again, the tanks are getting punished again and again and again. The carries are not willing to follow up.
Oh, no, to Ton MVP, almost falling flat as well. Now here comes the Silent Force coming out, and they're trying to break down Lone. That's going to be a shutdown coming in, and Lasset trying to actually take down the Harif, and he'll be able to connect, and it's only down to Ton MVP, and Access Esports wants to go in for the wipeout before going for the style points finisher, and this will be the first point given over on the side of Access Esports.
Definitely a huge confidence booster.
Down to the ground, you're dragging me. It's constant.